everybody. Welcome back to Gardens the Untold Story. I'm your host, Ken Somerville. My co-host, Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So
What?
the quick strike. Who are we striking out at, Andy, this week?
Okay, so I'm gonna press the button now. There we go. This is it's called the Organic Garden Shield. That's the title we gave it. I really like that title. It's really very cool. So this time I'm putting in a lot of work into the shows. Hi everybody. So uh, here's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to read it a little bit. Welcome back to the channel. If you are tired of waking up to find your hard work chewed on to pieces by uninvited garden guests, this episode is for you. Today we're dropping a rapid fire list of 20 immediate, safe, and organic ways to defend your garden right now. No harsh chemicals, no toxic runoff, pure natural defense. Let's dive into it. Everybody here? Okay.
We're gonna dive into it, and then everybody's gonna show up and go, "Hey, what's going on?"
Right. I can wait. We can talk. By the way, if people have questions, I always stop what I'm doing. We'll answer the question, right? So, by the way, this is my sprayer in the background. So
okay.
Because I've been in the spraying business for a long time, and we can do a show on that and what I do. People actually would like to see me spraying and doing specific things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is liquid spray, things that you can whip up. Okay, number one, neem oil. Now remember, my philosophy is that these are just things you can do to help them survive. But if you really want to solve all these problems, what is it we have to do?
We have to get the soil health up, and it has to be a living soil.
Exactly right. So these are things like you were taught in school in organic gardening. You get an organic gardening book. You use this, you use that, you use this. Nowhere does it say, okay, maybe you don't have to do all that if you do this. So that's why I want to emphasize that, because these are just things that are tools you can use, and they're for short-term solutions. There is a long-term solution. So the first one is neem oil. It comes from the neem tree, and it works wonders. I have used it many times. I very rarely use these things now because I practice healing the soil, and it's a whole different story. Okay, so number two is Castile soap. I have been using Castile soap. When I first started doing this, I needed to come up with something that I could do to help the problem, and I started using Dr. Bronner's soap. It's a natural Castile soap. It happens to be some of it's made from eucalyptus, some of it made from lavender, right? So you've seen it, right? Orange. Basically, it's herb that's been made into soap.
Okay.
Hello. Okay. Right. You have that blank look. See. Hello.
Yeah. I'm reading this. I like the format. Quick strike.
Yeah, that's right. Because I don't want to take too long because there's tons of these things, and we can talk all day. And on my workshop, I'm going to be covering a lot more. So the Castile soap has been used forever with organic farming. Goes way back when you have a farm. They would make soap from animal parts, right? And they would spray and they do kind of things with that too. Of course, number three is garlic. Garlic goes way back. Probably one of the first things organic gardener started doing when he was in the cave, right? And garlic has so many ingredients that that it gets rid of vampires, but it works wonders on almost every bug, every bug. I wrote a book.
That's one of the reasons it's so good for the human body too, Andy.
Yeah, exactly right. When I was a kid, I probably said it before, I used to take a clove of garlic, slice it in half, put one in each shoe, walk around with it. And in school, you could smell me a mile away. And it was really cool.
I think so, and everybody ran away. Don't get close to that Lopez guy, man.
Yeah, exactly right. And it was really, so when I would go camping, I would do that. And I never got bitten by mosquitoes. Mountain lions would go, okay, this way,
I'm out of here.
Right. So, so garlic is a systemic. You can bury it under a tree and sucks it up and it smells. A bug will go, no, I don't think so. So that's garlic. Okay. Number four is hot pepper spray. Now, I mentioned this because you really don't have to go. You have to go lightly with this stuff. Okay. You don't want to torture the animals with it or the creatures with it. Right, because I did that once. I put some hot pepper, and a
Hey,
go for.
I'm gonna stop you. How about mother-in-laws?
Oh, stop!
Just saying, you
No, the
know.
garlic will work better. A clove of garlic that you wear on your neck, that'll work better. And then there's also I call this tomato leaf tea. One of the easiest things you can do in the garden. You have a tomato plant, you take a leaf, make a tea out of it, you spray it. But you can also do that almost any plant you're growing in the garden. I tried lettuce, I made tea out of lettuce and sprayed it. The trick is you're spraying something and the bugs go, wait a minute, that is not what I think it is. And especially if you're spraying on them, because all like the garden here, I have lavender, eucalypt, all these different things. We'll make a tea out of those things and spray it. And that works. Okay, so these are liquid sprays. And like I said, there are literally thousands of many different liquid sprays that you can spray. I don't have time to cover them all. It's supposed to be a quick shot. We talked about spraying milks, right? So there's lots of other things that you could be spraying that really works on the bugs. Just spraying milk on many bugs, it does wonders to them or to the plant, right?
Well, and this is for immediate defense against
Right.
garden
Exactly
invaders,
right.
guys. And I will say something about neem oil. A lot of people have found that they're using way too much, and
Yeah.
that's why we always tell people,
Don't be a moron.
don't be a moron.
Right.
Less it can be more, especially if you're mixing several of what Andy has talked about into your spray. If you mix them all in there and made that kind of a spray, my goodness gracious, grape nuts of fire. Okay,
So
there wouldn't be a bug within 50 miles of you.
So I did one of the mixtures you do not want to do, coffee and garlic. Okay, you do not want to mix them because
Okay.
just thinking about spraying coffee and garlic, you go, in one way I want to drink it, another way I want to eat it. I don't really like it. I don't.
That's one wicked cappuccino, man.
Yeah. And so the rule of the don't be a moron is very important because you want to spray the minimum you can spray to get away without the problem. So when you use the Castile soap, you'd be surprised how 1 tablespoon of natural Castile soap in a gallon of water will work as opposed to the whole ounce in a gallon of water. You'd be surprised. So the next one we're going to talk about, let me see if I move this. Where is this? The button. There is the button. Okay. So I call it physical armor. By the way, that's me in the background at one of my customers' places. I spray what's called foliar feeding, the food, everything I make. I do it in the foliar way. It means we're going to do a show on that. I think we're going to, I'm going to be giving you a list to show. One of them is what is foliar spraying and why do I do it? But basically is this whole thing is about providing cover crops to stop the bugs from coming in, providing, like, for example, when I was young, I was told in organic gardening medicine, you get a strip of copper, you put the copper around the garden, the raised bed, that keeps them from crawling over it. I also learned about diatomaceous earths. By the way, there are 3 different types of diatomaceous earths, and people have been very confused because one lady says, I went to my pool place, I bought some really cheap diatomaceous earth. I'm going, yeah.
That's for your pool, lady. Don't eat that one.
That's for your pool. And that causes a lung disease. Just using that causes a lung disease because it's chemically treated. So there's garden grade, pool grade, and food grade.
Yeah.
So guess which one I use the food grade even when I'm using it in the garden.
Yeah, so same for me as well.
It costs a little more, but you don't really need to use a little bit. Remember, practice don't be a moron because that's what you have to do. Because a lot of people use too much and they actually destroy your environment just for simply using too much as opposed to using a tiny small amount. And so there's lots of physical barriers that you can do. You'll learn it throughout the years. You can use a screen you can put over, a little netting you can put over. Like what I have to do in my garden here. Everything I do, the squirrels still manage to come and eat everything up. So I'm building a raised bed, putting a little screen over it, a little netting over it, keep the squirrels out from getting at it. So those are physical barriers that you can do. Then there is slide over here. I had fun doing these. And so one of the shows
hold on, Andy. Before we move off of physical barriers, guys, don't forget about banker plants. These are plants at the edge of your garden that attract the bugs as well.
Not there yet.
Way. Oh,
I'm not there
you're
yet.
getting it. Okay, well, you go ahead then.
Yeah, you see it right there. Use sacrificial trap crops.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you were looking straight at it, so you got it from me. I
Oh,
need
wow.
a joke. We need a joke here, man. We need a joke.
Serena, you just got on. Andy's asking you to get a joke up.
Right off the bat. I was waiting for you. Food grade ice makes earth only. That's the way you do it. I feed it to my cat. People who know give it to their horses, to their animals. It naturally deworms them. That's
Yeah.
full of minerals. You can actually add it to water and spray, so you can spray it on the plants if you absolutely need it to do that. When it dries, it leaves a thin coating of it. Again, I pretty much have stopped using these things only because it works so well spraying soil biology on everything. That's it right there.
Well, you're not. You're because of the work you do, Andy. The places that you go to on a regular basis have become so healthy. They're not really getting insects and bugs, right?
That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. We talked about that in a few shows before, and I actually have another one called "The Secret," the Hidden Truth, and I might talk about it here a little bit. Which insects is always talking to a higher power? I knew that one. I knew that
Yeah.
one.
Praying mantis. Thanks, Serena. Andy needed
I
that.
knew that. So we're going to have a show on beneficial insects. I'm trying to get the owner of Arbico Organics. Her name is Cherie. Hi, Cherie. Come on the show. And she does predators, beneficial insects of every type on the planet. And that's the basic thing to do. Is that's one way people treat places. Uh, again, I started doing that, using the beneficial things, but you don't really need them if your property is functioning and healthy and you have hardly any problems whatsoever. So there are lots of ways that people ignore the cost and continuously do other things. That's the whole business, right? The whole business has been, what can we do for here? What can we do? Rather than say, okay, what is the real problem? What is the real problem? And deal with that. Yo, everyone, shooting the soil. Oh my God. I'm not going to ask. Okay, so
Oh
this
yeah, he does a fantastic work on with the microscope. He's got his own channel. He's been on with Leighton quite a bit. But I want to bring up Serena's other joke here.
uh,
Which insect has the best manners? The ladybug. That must be my. She's talking about my wife because she's a lady. Okay.
yeah, it's a sweetheart one too, isn't it? Yeah.
Hmm.
So this one has to do with traps and cleanups, right? So the traps are. Um, so when I 1 year in college, I joined this garden club online, and they send me all these different funny shaped and this different colored traps where they're sticky on it. Yes, and
Okay.
there are different colors to trap different insects. Certain insects are attracted to yellow because they either they go after citrus or whatever, or green, or it's a natural color that they go to, and they get stuck on them. And
Right.
that is again, there are lots of traps that you can do, lots of ways you can, like for example, in my garden, sometimes I don't have that problem anymore, but I used to get cardboard or rocks or logs, lay them down in a certain area, and when in the mornings or at night, I'd pick them up, and the slugs would be there and the snails would be there, so it'd be like a trap that I would catch them. And also too, there was lots of, I remember, I'm not sure if I talked about the beer. Did I? Oh yeah, the beer is in this one. Is that beer trap, right? So I remember the beer trap when I first read about it in organic gardening. Oh, beer, great! But here's what's really funny. So I went to the store and I said, "I'm trapping snails. I would like some organic beer, please." The guy says, "Well, you're not old enough to buy beer." Well, I'm not drinking it. I'm just going to use it for the stuff. Sure, you are. Why? Who cares if it's organic or chemical? Let them. I remember that whole story. Yep, shooting Ethan with a camera. Good for you, man. I was in the photographer in the service, and I'm still very much interested in shooting microscopic things, But you need a studio, a lab. Andy, have goats? Oh no, no, I don't have any goats. No, just say no. I do not. I
You
don't
have a
have.
big cat, though.
Huh? I have a cat,
Yeah.
so I need a cat show. So the beer thing is an effective way to attract snails and slugs. But again, And that works. You take them, throw them away, or move them to your next door neighbor and let them free over there. That's what I would do. Just take them across the street and give them to the old lady. Why was the squirrel drunk? I ate too many beer nuts. Oh God! You can slow down.
Let's go back to the organic beer, because I know a lot of the beers made now aren't actually beer. They're
Yeah,
chemical based.
done.
It's
Yeah.
not like in the old days where they're
No, you
actually
make your own
drinking
beer, right?
hops.
Right. Yeah, it's really when I was drinking beer, and I was like in the early '70s. I remember Rolling Rock, the only beer in the country that was natural, that didn't have any chemical. There's 72 different chemicals in beer.
Let's go
Okay,
ahead.
there's 72 different chemicals in beer.
Yeah.
I can give you a list of it. Well, we can do a show on just a list of those chemicals. Off the bat, yellow, something to make it yellow, something to keep it from getting too yellow, something to make it foam, something to keep it making foam, and so on. It's not really just make your own beer. That's the best thing to do.
Now, how about the lagers and the stouts?
I know nothing about them.
Okay, yeah, if you go to a craft beer store, you might actually get beer. Okay, but if
Right.
you're going for the bulk stuff in the supermarket or wherever you're buying it from,
No.
you're probably getting more chemical.
Yeah, it has to be like a family owned operation. They make it themselves, and that's the way to do it. That's I would happily drink that, but now I've gotten so allergic to the chemical stuff. I went with a friend of mine, took a sip. I was out for a week. I was like, oh, okay, and it was
Yeah, it
like,
used to make me vomit after a beer. I'd be out
yeah,
vomiting because the chemicals would
yeah.
react to
I
that.
had migraine headache for days and days. It was just a sip. I'm going, well, the beers are getting better, right? So yeah. So anyway, and of course there's a simple holes in water technique of spraying plants with your watering them down. I took one step further. I actually have a power sprayer that I can spray them down with the water, but the water's got biology in it. See, right? Might as well spray something if you can spray in water. And again, it goes back down to the biology. And in the category here under spraying and under all these other things, biology fits right with every category that you can do, because lots of different ways you can increase uh, do that for pest control. I like using coffee grinds as a physical barrier, but you're actually using the coffee and caffeine. I was on a show the other day with a Dr. Health, 30 million listeners, and we were talking about I don't know what we were talking about. Probably something to do with food. I just
I think
but
Andy's had a couple too many beers. Sounds like what?
yeah. So I was talking. I tell people. I try to explain to people that these are all techniques that are old. They're like in the past, and you can use them. But it's time that we understand why we have these diseases and these bugs in the first place. You solve that problem, and all these other things are not even a little tiny bit. It's like I was telling the doctor that, okay, so you're a healthy person, but you stand next to a person with a cold, you're going to catch it. It depends on how healthy you are, how fast you get rid of it, right? How much you get it, and so that's an issue when. Because I had one customer, totally organic, surrounded by all these other customers who are spraying, overwatering, and so their places are infested, and it overcomes to her place. And I swear there must be a shield, because they stop. 90% of them stop. Just a little bit, make it through and go, what's going on? Oh, God. And that, you're still going to get something, because unless ideally you do your whole city is that way, your neighbors that way, everybody in your neighborhood's that way, that way you don't have any overflow. I'm doing a show on I don't know if I mentioned here about conventional and organic food. Did I talk about that? Did I say that anything about that? No.
I don't really. I think you might have mentioned it, but I
Yeah.
don't think you went into it at all. But you know, guys, you are going to have a certain amount of bugs, whether it's the ultimate healthy garden or not, because there's what's called the predator prey, and you need some of those prey models for the predators to come in and eat. Like, okay, the grasshopper brings in the sparrow. Okay, the mosquitoes bring in the dragonflies. So you do need a certain amount. It's when you get an infestation that there's
That's
a,
a
a
different
true
story.
problem. You get a
Right.
locust, right?
Yeah.
So
So
you do want to have some, you want to see life in your soil and all types of life.
So in my garden, throughout the years, people think that I have a sterile garden. There's nothing here. No, and then they say, "Oh, look, there's a spider, or there's an ant. Oh my God, I see a snail." Or I'm going, "Yeah, lady, it's called life." And, because they do not cause any problems whatsoever. They never get to the infestation stage where you go, "Oh boy." You just have what I've learned, and I probably should have included in this because you want to have and I will add it to this because this is going to be part of the workshop. It's going to be another segment on here, which has to be your local life, your local wildlife, your local insect life. You really
Yeah.
want to have them. You want to have them coming. You're welcome. Come and eat. Come and eat and eat. Yeah. So the snails will come. See, snails are not really super bad, nor ants, nor any of these other creatures. They have their jobs to do. You
Yes.
know.
And that's it. They have their jobs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. And so you have to have like a wildlife sanctuary. So that
Yeah.
and the birds, a bird bath is essential. You have a bird, let the birds. I let birds go through the garden all the time looking for stuff. There's nothing here. There's no snails. What's going on with this place? I have a major problem with squirrels because they love to eat things I like as well. So I have to
Well,
put.
and you guys don't have a lot of coyotes and things that eat the squirrels,
No,
and
no,
then
no.
it's out of balance.
I have a
And yeah,
coyote
you
came
have
through
the
my
multitude.
backyard. I have a coyote came through my backyard the other day. The cat's looking at me going, "You see what I'm seeing?" It was a coyote running through my garden. As soon as I went like that, he slid underneath and left. Now the cat sticks his head out and goes, "Is it
Do I
okay
want
to
to go
come out?
out there?
Is it okay to come out?" So the coyote, I told the coyote, "Go after the squirrels." The squirrels are over there. Because and there's a hawk family here, and I tell the hawk the same. The hawk says, "I want to eat your cat." I said, "Look, there's squirrels here. Eat the squirrels."
Mhm.
The same thing with the hawk. I told the hawk, "Wait a minute. You want to eat my cat? Yeah, nice and plump. Well, what about that squirrel and that squirrel, that squirrel, that squirrel, that squirrel, that squirrel?" And I know the squirrels by name now. It's like they show up. Hi, hey, Andreas. Hi, Julie. How you doing? It's like, what the? Because I made a mistake. I started feeding them one day. There was 42 squirrels in my backyard. I go, I don't think that was such a good idea. you know,
Yes. Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they try to blackmail me. So let's see what else I got here. Okay, so this is basically says 20 fixes, zero toxins. Which one are you trying first? Drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, and let's keep those organic gardens growing strong. Until next time. That's basically what I have. I think I did it in a record time in 21 minutes. So
Yeah.
it was meant to for us to have this a discussion with. And you have any questions, feel free to ask me now because that's what I'm here for to talk to you. But that can always be expanded more. But that was some of the basic. Like I said, I missed the major section, the wildlife, the local life, you want to call it, because that's what you want to do. You want to increase your local. Well, that's what when I think soil biology, I don't differentiate between underground and above ground.
Yeah.
That's always been biology. That it should be called garden biology or the whole property biology or something.
I think when you start creating the entire ecosystem, then it's not just the microbiology. You're getting up into the higher levels because you're getting springtails, you're getting roly polies. Then we had Josh on last Monday or this past Monday, uh, showing his garden, his indoor garden, and he has little salamanders coming out, and he's getting an abundance. Or I think I can't remember exactly what he called them, skeets or something, but he's got life in an
Yeah,
indoor
yeah,
environment
yeah,
better than most gardens outside.
yeah. Because it's really protected, and they do a lot better. That's why I used to have a greenhouse. And a greenhouse was always the easiest place to grow stuff because I just let whoever I wanted to let in rather than. So if the snails behaved, they came in. But if they started trouble, I would put a sign outside, no snails. Keep the snails out. Take them and throw them out the next door neighbor's place.
Okay, now Serena's actually talking about having a nut feeder. So, that could be in a lot of ways could be considered a banker plant, because the squirrels go to and eat the nuts and take them instead of eating the garden. But I don't know, man. Nuts ain't cheap, okay?
No,
They need a lot of nuts.
it's I tried that, and what happens is that I said there was 42 squirrels. I stopped counting at 42. Maybe I counted a few, and I bought $20 worth of nuts, and they were like things are flying everywhere. And then when I looked at me, more, and I go, ah. And so you can't spend like $40 a day on feeding the squirrel. On top of that, I realized they're all going to bring fleas and ticks. My cat was going, I like those guys. It makes me itch.
Hey, man, he scratched me. Now, Goat Head Andy is talking to you, brother.
Oh, the classes haven't started yet. I'm in the process of doing the outline. I did the outline for 21 classes. It's going to be, I should be done by August. I'm constantly adding to it because it's going to be an amazing class. What I'm going to do is anybody from this show or any show, all they have to do is mention the show. And see, I'm doing a beta testing. I want 20, 30, 40 people to come on, do everything, tell me what they think, go through the process. Won't cost them a penny. And that'll be for life. They can continue doing that. Everybody else is going to have to eventually pay when we go to the regular. And what I do is I'm going to do a live stream on Saturday mornings. Again, that's going to be up to the members. You're going to get, what you do is you go to my website, sign up for the newsletter, say I want to be in the class. And then I have a newsletter for class members so that I can tell you what's going on, and you can talk to me. You can say, well, this class is missing this. So I'm doing videos and all kinds of other interesting things. Like I did here, it's going to be the same thing, but for the class. So I'm going to take
Andy, where do people go to get on? Is it on your website?
Yeah.
Website?
Yeah. So what you do is you go to the website, you sign up for the newsletter, and then in the newsletter there's an email me. You say, I would like to be in your class. So I get the email and I'll put it in an email list. So that'll be a special newsletter. Only members of that class will get it. And then you can start immediately benefiting from it, because what I'll do is I'll give you a special password so that when I do the show, like this show could be for a class, but you have to have a password to get it from YouTube or a password to get it from the website, or even the only thing you're going to have to buy is the book. Don't Panic, It's Organic book. It's $20. I'll show you how to get it. That's going to be our textbook. And then you're going to get I'll show you how to do that, like we're doing now, whether you use Zoom or Yard or Screen or your SteamYard, right? So that we can do virtual consultations. So when you watch the class, after the class, it's going to be a half-hour show of questions and answer. If you still need some help, then we set up a virtual one-on-one. You get a half hour free. After that, it's $7,000 an hour for virtual consultation.
And if you want Andy to come to your place personally,
yeah, 10,000,
20 grand, okay.
10,000. I'll fly with my helicopter to come to your place, and we'll go over everything. So that's how you get.
So they go to your website, they get on your newsletter,
right?
And then there's a link in the newsletter that they need to.
Right. So when they sign up, they get the newsletter. They'll get another thing saying, thank you for signing up for the newsletter. Any questions, click on the email. So you type it, you click on the email, a little box comes up. You in the subject, you write workshop, online workshop. And you comment, you can say, I want to be part of the member of the online workshop, of the beta testing. And then I'll send it and then I'll send it. I'll put you in a list that as soon as the workshop starts to come online, you're going to be the people who's going to get the newsletter. Say, here we are. Here's the first class, and I'll set it up so a person can either pick what class they want or go through the whole class. Ideally, I want you to start from class 1, go all the way through the class, and then you'll learn everything, and it's going to be an ongoing thing because there's so much information, and that I want to pass on to one of the classes is going to be how to start your own organic services, own organic soil health business, which I want to pass on to you what I'm doing, and that you can do it too. And nobody's doing it. Trust me, nobody's doing this. I mean, Leighton is about as close as you come to it because he's doing the compost, but nobody's doing the actual service of the spray machine and all this stuff going to people's homes. That is what I want you to do, and I'll be right there behind you saying, "Why did you do that, man? What is going on?" Right? So anyway, that's it. You can go to my website, invisiblegardener.com, newsletter. It'll say fill out the thing, and we can take it from there. What road is on?
Now, hold on, because how about the people that are already signed up? Like I get your newsletter.
Yeah.
Same links. I just got to check inside the newsletter. But I want to bring this one up. Which rodent is always complaining about something? The skunk. It's always raising a stink about something.
You really need to write a book on this. I'm telling you, that's to be a really cool book with a cartoon for every joke. It should be like gardening joke book, something like that, because it's all about gardening, right?
Yeah, well, you've written a book, but I don't know if you got the good jokes in there, Andy. You know,
I don't have any jokes in the joke book. I wanted to do that, but my wife said, "Don't do any jokes in the joke book or cartoons." I want it to be like a real hippie thing, you know, left over from the '60s, right? You know what I mean? So I did the best I could.
You did what your wife allowed you to do, and
Yeah.
it's probably a good thing that she did what she did.
I don't know. I still have the original copy of the one. It was really cool because it had a little artwork done to it. It looked like some guy was really smoking pot when he was doing this. I had a great time doing it. I don't know if you've ever seen Survival into the 21st Century, but I modeled it after that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever see Survival, the book Survival in the 21st Century by Victor Kovinskis?
I don't know that I've seen the book, but there's enough movies out there that you know talk about the future and that you know you could pretty much, if you have a good enough imagination and you know Andy at all, you could probably picture, you know, kind of what's in his book. Okay.
Yeah. We the survival one is really very good because it covers sprouts, it covers healings, how to eat the right combination of food. I've been a vegetarian since the early '70s, and only recently.
I'm sorry for that, Andy.
I know it's awful.
I didn't do it, man. You
It's awful,
you
isn't
did
it?
that.
It's awful, isn't it? And so it's only recently, because I was having dental problems and trying to eat more food, that I started eating meat like chicken and turkey and fish. I was a big time seafood guy. I would like to eat shrimps and all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm going, and I was into sprouts, and I'm still into that now as I get older. I don't want to. I was eating way too many eggs. I don't like it, so I'm going back to totally plant food diet. And so it's really good now after my surgery to do that. I'm like today I'm having soybeans and chestnuts, and I have all kinds of lentils, and I'm having a good time. I'm gaining weight.
Well, and it's whatever makes you happy. And there are 5% of the people on our planet that can be healthy on a vegetarian diet. And
Right.
Andy happens to be one of them, and that's wonderful.
Myself,
oh man, I couldn't do it, dude. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't go without bacon. Okay.
I don't think I've ever. Well, as a kid, I may have looked at it and smelled. I liked the way it smelled, but I wouldn't eat it. And that's as close as I came to bacon. And not because it has to do with a pig or anything like that. I mean, in my family, they would on the table they would have goat and pig and chicken and I don't know, horse and whatever else they have on there.
I think you're just an alien, man. Oh, I know you're an alien. Oh, that's right. What are you looking at? You're looking at the comments.
Yeah, this one.
The sign up for the Invisible Gardener newsletter does not have an option for classes, but now you have
that doesn't. Oh yeah, but if you sign up for the newsletter and it's spelled wrong, Gardner, I'll forgive you. It doesn't say in the newsletter, click here to be in the class, because the class is not officially set up yet. But once you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get a letter saying, email saying, thank you for getting my newsletter. And this will, you'll be getting more newsletters. It tells you what's the shows we do, what's going on. At the bottom that says, email me. And it also says, if you want my free ebook, click here to get my free ebook. Well, you can also say, not only do I want my free ebook, but I also want to be in the class. And then I will even, I'm working out so that it does automatically, but right now I get the email, do a reply, attach the ebook version to it, and then automatically enroll you in the class. So you'll get another newsletter saying you're welcome to the class.
Yeah, and you know, eventually Andy will have it set up on his tabs where it'll say chorus or something, but he's going to be running the beta, so only the people on this channel know about this.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, so if you get in on the beta,
and it's lifetime. It's lifetime, forever and ever. As long as I'm alive and doing this, you have access to this workshop, and I'll make you the most amazing organic professional in your city.
Cool. Okay, we got to bring this one is a bacon joke. Which animal is a baker? Pig. It's always baking. Something inspired by Andy tonight.
I hate this person. I really do. So I also too the workshop is turning into my new book. So
cool.
One of the things I can do in the one upcoming sessions here, I can go through every lesson that the workshop is going to have. You can actually pick the ones you want to do rather than doing the whole thing. I'm thinking of giving you some kind of diploma, you know, from the Municipal Gardener Institute, something like that, you know.
Oh, but, cool.
Yeah, but what it really means is that you're going to be getting all kinds of information, whether in videotape, there's some things you can download, the PDF files you can download, like what we talked about here, that information, you can download it. But it's also going to be in the new book. And I have a famous idea what I'm going to call it, but the book is exactly what the workshop is covering. So you have all this information that you can apply to not only your own place, because that is part of the thing I want to do. I want you to survive. I want you to make your garden so healthy. People go, what are you doing over there? That's what happened in my place when I was a kid. People stop and go, now let me get this straight. My house is next to you. I can't grow tomatoes worth anything, but look at what are you doing over here?
Yeah.
See, you know.
Now, we do have a question.
Oh, okay.
Serena, one of the trees at my church is looking like it's losing its leaves, while the others of the same species still have all of theirs. With treating the soil with a blend of compost or worm castings and biochar solve the issue, and that eventually.
So this is an indicator of a greater problem. So that doesn't mean that these other trees are out of the woods. It just means this is starting. The rest of them will follow suit. So what it tells me is that there's something going on in the soil. Either it's near a source of water that, like maybe near a bed where people constantly turning it on, or maybe it's dripping and leaking. That would be one of the things that would damage the soil in that section. So that I found one. I went to a house once, and it had two trees on either side of the house. One tree, they were both planted together. They were both looking beautiful until then one day this tree on the left side started to die. I came and I looked at it and I said, well, maybe you should fix the leak under the tree.
Yes, that's it. That's a big problem. And it's actually one of the ways you can find out that you have a leak in your underground system.
Yeah.
But yeah, the foliar spraying, you're trying to look for the cause if there's a separate cause. The compost and biochar, that's going to be the long-term solution, because you're going to slowly start to improve the soil and bring it back to life.
So you want to do the
foliar.
Yeah, you want to look at what the real cost is. You have to look at it and say, okay, something's going on to this soil that's not happening as much on this soil, and you have to look at once you figure that out, then you have to do the long-term solution. But I would treat both trees. I wouldn't wait till that tree to have the problem. So usually what's going on is you haven't applied any compost to it. Some gardener's been raking up all the leaves, taking anything away. Nothing's falling. No humus is falling to the ground. And of course, if it's getting water, the city water is a major cause of problems because the toxins in the city water will kill everything more than anything else. And so it also could be a structure of the soil. It could be like maybe where that tree was planted, there was a hard rock or something really bad with the soil, as opposed to right next door on the other side of the tree. Maybe it had more soil there. It's you have to. You can. What I do sometimes, I do 2 soil tests. I do 1 soil test under this tree, 1 soil under that tree, and you will see the difference in organic matter, the difference in pH. The pH level will be totally different. You can. There's a really cool place you can look up the biology, have a test for the biology. You can see what's going on in the biology. And it could also be something physical that happened. Maybe somebody damaged it, backed up the car to it, or maybe somebody dumped some chemical under it. It could be paint. You're painting the house, you dump something under there and dump there. It could be any number of things. A gardener maybe overdid that section when he was doing the fertilization. It could be any number of things that cause it. So the foliar feeding is the key to. So when you I like a show. There's a starts with an analyst pulls up and they come and get in the stretcher. The first thing they do, you see this little thing that a bottle is hanging right intravenous, and they're rolling it with it right. So the doctor wants to keep that patient alive, so it's feeding it right. It's giving it something that the body will go, oh, I need that, right?
Yeah,
that's what foliar feeding is. So you don't have. I tried to hang something up from a branch, a little bottle. I might just do that because it's a really cool way to show people you need to feed the tree something that it can eat like right away, something it can take, and that's what foliar is. And it's very misleading because it's not just foliar. You spray the trunk of the plant of the tree as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that. I saw that. I saw that.
Well, and the one right above it too. Okay.
Well, because of all the leaks, right. So that's what foliar is. Foliar is. So I learned not just to spray the trace minerals. It doesn't work. You want to do like Mother Nature does. Biology and trace minerals together. Mother Nature, normally in nature, when it rains in the forest, you have all this biology and trace minerals everywhere in the air, not just in the soil. So I've learned to imitate Mother Nature, and the mixture. I used to be concerned about how much of what do I add. I have friends who are chemists. Oh, you need 5 pounds of iron for every 5 pounds of calcium. I'm going, yeah, okay, and that's not really the best way to do it. Because that's not the way Mother Nature does it. Mother Nature says everything gets blended together, biology and trace minerals, everything gets blended together, and that's what you give them. And so I've learned to get products that have a blend of trace minerals. That's why I like rock dust. Rock dust is a whole blend of them, and you get different blends of different sources of rock dust. So you're going to get a blend of different trace minerals. Some rock dust are deficient in certain trace minerals. For example, aconite is 30% calcium. You're not going to find that in rock dust. 30% calcium. It's just because it's alluvium clay. It's a clay. It's heated up from the earth. People go do hot mud baths. And that's one reason why the hot mud bath is so good. You put that on your clay, heals your body. Your body needs clay, calcium, so it gets absorbed right through the clay. And so, and there's a, I think it's, let's see, no, excuse me, Agrowin is the rock dust from Southern California. Azomite is a rock dust from Colorado. Azomite doesn't have it only has maybe 2% calcium in it. It's glacial rock dust. In the United States, there's about 10 different types of rock dust that you can get, and I'm happy to show you the direction but there are companies that basically sell all these different products. That's cool. And there's a company that it's called remineralization.org. I've been trying to get her on the show here. I know her forever, but she's not doing it. And John Haymaker is also part of it. Try to get him on the show, but he's not. He wrote Remineralization of the Planet. And so, because I really want to talk about remineralization, that's what Mother Nature normally does. We're into a big, giant volcano exploding around the earth, remineralizing everything. That's what it does, So
what do you get when you cross a dog with a daisy? A cauliflower.
Oh, so sweet. That's so sweet. Oh God. Yeah, I miss that. It's very good to have that on the show. It keeps you paying attention to it.
Well, positive energy and you need the minerals because you need the building blocks. You need the biology because they're the ones using the building
And
blocks.
that's what you spray.
But you need the energy too, and positive energy and laughter. That's why people say, laughter is the best medicine because it's positive energy. The plants need sunlight. But when you, as the farmer, go into your garden or out into your field, if you have a positive energy, then it's going to benefit your field. If you have a negative energy, guess what? It's
So
not going to do that. It's going to have the opposite effect.
I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you a secret. So you're absolutely right about the energy. So when I'm spraying, I'm visualizing I have a magic wand. Zippity doo da, zippity doo da, pop, zippity zippity day. Put it together, and what did you got? Boop boop boop. Because you think I do gem elixirs, and all have to do with energy and stuff. So when my spraying rig, I magnetize the water, so that the structure of the water is more susceptible to. That's why Mother Nature structures the water through various different ways to allow the trace minerals and the biology to work together. And also too that because it is structured water, just thinking happy. If you're out there going, oh my God, kill everybody, it's like that's not going to work. But if you go out there and envision beautiful light coming out of your hose, envision high energy healing things, you can spray, do a car wash with it, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the real secret of making everything really grow. You're not into killing anything. You want everything so balanced out that everything takes care of itself. All you're doing is doing invisible gardening. That's what I learned from it. It took me a while to find out who the real invisible gardeners are, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the biology that you never even see because you have to use a microscope to increase your visibility. It's like turning on the headlights, man. Oh, what's that thing in the middle of the road?
But you do see it. You don't see it directly. You see the headlight. You don't see the headlight. You see the light.
You see the wavelength, the frequency.
So you actually see the result. So in the Invisible Gardener, it was a parable of the Invisible Gardener. Two people were walking through the forest, and one guy said, "Look, everything's so beautiful. There must be an invisible gardener." No, somebody's taking care of this place. So they took a video. They tried to capture somebody. They couldn't figure out who's doing that. So the guy said, "It must have been an invisible gardener here." And that's the way Mother Nature works. So you're in your garden. If you set it up for Mother Nature and basically get out of the way. You do basic maintenance because the garden is surrounded by evil. It's surrounded by toxins. It's surrounded by death. It's surrounded by all this stress. And even the rain sometimes is acid rain. The water that you're spraying it with so it's constantly trying to beat it down. But if you get it to the point where you have stopped that, I'm going to do a show on microplastics in the soil. You'll be surprised how much microplastics are ending up in the soil, in our brain, and everywhere else. That's the problem. So you have to get it to the point where we have to stop with all this toxic stuff and try to balance it out more. I mean, it's going to be difficult. The human race is very, very toxic oriented.
Yes, really unfortunately, and when I was growing up and when you were growing up, Andy, everything
I'm still growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. We're not talking about the 2-year-old in you, Andy.
Oh,
but everything was glass. You went and you bought a pop or a soda pop, as you guys call it in the South. It was in glass, and then they would recycle that glass. But in the plastic bottles, we're getting the microplastics. You didn't get micro glass ending up in your brain unless your buddy broke his beer bottle over your head because you were an idiot. But, generally speaking, we didn't have any kind of a problem like that.
I know. It's so bad now. I've tried. So one of the shows I'm doing is 20 sources of microplastic and how to get it out of your body. How to get microplastics out of your body. I tried to do a show on how to reduce microplastics, but every time I turn around, okay, plastic. Okay. I mean, I've had my toothpaste, for crying out loud. It comes in a plastic tube. This thing is coming out. And that's one of the major sources of plastic in your body. The toothpaste that you're brushing your teeth with. Not to mention, if you don't have a filter for your shower, most people do, but almost 99% of people do not filter their property water. And you
I
imagine
think
you do that.
99% of the people don't use a filter for their shower water either.
Oh, really? Because everyone that I talk to here, they have a filter for the
Yeah, well,
house.
you're in Malibu, okay?
Sorry.
You're hanging out with Cher and
Yeah, she says
all
hi,
the
by the
big
way.
name people.
You
And, yeah,
believe it?
the
Yeah,
people with moolah, okay?
I understand. And there's lots of people all over the United States and around the world that they have to deal with the city water, which has the chemicals in it. And
Yeah.
it's such an imbalance. We have so much microplastics in our body, microplastics, and everything we want to eat. I was looking at my medicine. Everything I was saying is coming in some kind of plastic jar. I'm going, what am I supposed to buy? Take everything out, dump it in. So no water filters here. I understand. That means
Yeah,
that
well, I'm on a well,
yeah.
and we don't have water
Good.
filters for our shower or
Well, you don't have
anything.
this nobody coming around dumping chemicals in your well, even though your well is
Well,
probably
no,
getting it.
I don't know, man, because like the town is above me, and anybody that sprays
Yeah,
on their
yeah,
land,
yeah,
flows down to my property. It goes
yeah,
along a creek I have at the edge of my property, so that's
yeah.
going into my groundwater. So, am I getting it in my groundwater?
Yeah,
Am I getting
there's
it
a
up in
way
my
to
well?
control
Damn
that.
right I am.
There's a way to do that, but it takes a lot of work and you have to time it right. The soil biology will clean up microplastics. It will clean up all
Yeah,
kinds of
yep.
stuff. But you just have to keep it alive, keep it growing because it goes the opposite way. It will die on you if you leave it alone because that's the way I guess Mother Nature set it up. We just tend to destroy things. The Garden of Eden is very
Yeah.
temporary. But that's what you have to do in your home. You have to learn how to avoid it as much as you can. Uh, Toilet paper is very bad. There's only 3 of them in the United States. And one of them says bamboo on it, but it has microplastics in the bamboo. Gratitude for the day. Yeah.
Yes, Roger, definitely.
So it's a philosophy. I personally like to move on to a farm and try to control that more, but it doesn't happen. We live in the city. I live here. It's very difficult to control toxins. So you have to remove toxins from your body on a regular basis. We do filter our drinking water. Don't scare
Yes.
us.
I do have a reverse osmosis, which takes out 99%. Also, it takes out 99% of the biology out
As
of my
well.
water and the 99% of the minerals and
Yeah.
other contaminants.
Yeah.
So I put a pinch of sea salt in my drinking water. Like I'm drinking, and I don't have a glass bottle, it's stainless steel. Okay.
I have a copper one.
Yeah. And so I put a pinch of sea salt in my water to remineralize it because I need minerals. We're supposed to be getting all these minerals from the plants that we're eating. And
You see what's in there? Magnets. So I magnetize the water.
yeah. Well, that's no good for plastic, man. That might work for iron, but it's no good for plastic. It's just not picking it up. But
Yeah.
guys, when you're thinking about your garden and your plants and making them, oh, I want a healthy plant, whether you're smoking it, whether you're eating it, it doesn't matter. The healthier, the better. But what are you putting into your body as food? What are like Andy said, you have a filter on your shower. Most people in his area do. So they're not getting the chemicals landing on their body. Your skin is the largest organ of
your
your
body.
body, and
Yeah,
it
right.
draws it in. Why do we do foliar sprays? For a
Right.
plant, you're putting it on the leaf structure, you're making it healthy. Well, what are you spraying on yourself? You're using purified water for your foliar spray, and then you're jumping into your chemical laced shower. Start thinking about these things and see if there's something you can do for your own health that's
Right.
not going to make that
At
happen.
least try to minimize it to the best you can. It's almost impossible to entirely delete it. It's almost impossible to entirely remove plastic from your body, but you can. And interesting enough, the way you can remove plastic from your soil and the way you remove plastic from your body is identical. You increase healthy soil biology. You increase healthy biology, whether it be in the soil or in your body. If your body has all the biological things functioning and you're doing the right things, the many different types of food that you can eat. It will help you eliminate. They help you control that. See, and it translates the same thing with the garden. If you can grow that food in the garden and eliminates the plastic, and you eat it, you're going to be eliminate. You won't be able to get rid of all. Just turn it around, you're going to get plastic. Just breathing it in the air, you're going to get plastic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at least you're not going to die horribly of plastic poisoning or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, like when they're finding, plastic in drill samples in the Antarctica, plastic is literally in the air that we breathe. That's why it's microplastic. Okay, it's so small you need a microscope to see it. It's the same size as some of our biology that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to avoid it. Like Serena is suggesting the sunflower seeds. That's for other chemicals. The sunflower seeds are great, but for microplastic, you're going to consume it, but focus on eliminating it. And Andy's right. Your gut biology, your biology that exists in your lungs. Okay,
Yeah.
there's biology that breaks the plastic down.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Because
and
it
help
creates,
you eliminate it.
yeah, it breaks it down to the molecule level. Okay, the ions, the protons, the neutrons, things are broken down to that level in the process of nature of our very existence. So it can be broken down, but do you have the biology? Is your body healthy enough to break that down and eliminate it? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough exercise? There's, we do all this stuff for our plants. We want to make everything so healthy. Remember, yourself counts too. Okay, if the farmer isn't there, then who's taking care of that wonderful garden that you built?
So here's what's happening is that, see, the more plastic and toxins you get in your body, the less minerals you're going to be able to absorb because the less the biology is feeding you. Same thing with the garden. And I'll tell you a couple of plants, one particular plant that's been found amazing that will help you eliminate 60% of your microplastics. I can tell you that. I can give you one plant if you want to. There's 20 or 30 of them. They're all very good. I can tell you that. You want to hear what it is?
Yeah, because we're just about out of time, so I definitely want to hear.
Okra has the very weird chemicals. It's slimy, right? So when you get it in your stomach, it'll literally sucks up any foreign matter, whether it be microplastics, pesticides, whatever, and helps you to eliminate it. It doesn't take it out of your brain. It doesn't take it out of your. It takes it if it comes in contact with it in your stomach. And so there are other things you can do if you get it out of your brain, but that means you have to go to the planet X, and they have this surgery. They snap it out of you. They like plastics. They get it from people now.
Yuck. Okay, that must be on okra. Yuck. Okay.
Yeah. I got that. Yuck. Yeah, on okra, right? Most people hate okra, but it happens to have the same thing with weeds. It pulls up metals. Well, weeds pull up also microplastic too.
All plants do. It's in our soil. It's going to end up because when your plant runs its exudate cycle, so it puts out a liquid that comes out of the plant, and then it sucks 90% of it back in and brings it back up into the plant. That's your railroad. That's moving material.
That's you.
Moving material up and down in your plant. So the microplastics are getting into the biology. They're in the worms. They're in the birds. They're in the fish. It's everywhere. So just be healthy. You want gardens healthy? You want to eat healthy plants? You're fixing your soil. Don't forget to fix your gut microbiome too. And
okay, I'm not going to say yuck. I'm going to say excellent. Okra is one of the best tasting things I've ever run across in my life. I love gumbo. You have to start young eating it because it's the slime that gets to you. But if you eat okra once a month, your body will go, wait a minute, holy cow. And there's lots of magic vegetables that do that because broccoli is absolutely amazing. Spinach, there's tons of them. There's just really, really more protein than meat. I get more protein from these vegetables than I can eat a steak. And these are These are like amazing. If they're grown, because the study says there's no difference between chemically or organically grown. Well, they don't know what they're talking about.
Ain't that the truth?
None of them are farmers. They have no idea that there's a big difference. An organic farmer will amend the soil, do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, the vegetables are completely different. That's been going on for centuries. It's the same thing with your body.
Yeah, you look at the American Health Association, it tells you, how much nutrient density is in today's food in comparison to the past.
You got it.
And that's all based on the soil. But guys, we're at the hour mark. The ladies aren't doing a show tomorrow or on Sunday. So the next show should be on Monday with Leighton Morrison on the Soil Matters podcast. You're going to want to check that out Monday afternoon. Other than that, guys, Andy, say peace out, Andy.
I'm trying to see what we're doing next week. I didn't bring it up fast enough, but we're doing something next week. We always do something next week.
Okay, well, let me put my glasses on. I actually have it. And guys, when I printed this off, you could see just how small it printed. Okay, so black gold graded. Why every compost heap has
a different soul.
Okay?
Yeah,
that's
talk
the next
about that.
show with Andy and I. As long as Andy has internet next week, we should be doing it. But guys,
take care.
Love you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and if you can, like Goat Head Gardens. I don't know if you guys see him as green in the chat, but he's got that green color because he's one of the defenders of the biology. He's helping to support the channel. You can as well. Just click on the button on YouTube to join and help out the channel. Help us get more information out there. But Andy, love you, brother. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody. Bye.